All right, it's time for another weekly check-in. I'm Tiff. I read books. I talk to you about them. Although this week, I actually don't have a lot more to add, unfortunately. Hugin just had dinner, and so he's like rooting around on his bed, so I apologize if you hear like snuffling noises or the squeaking of his bed. He's old. I let him do what he wants most of the time, as long as he's not getting into trouble. So excuse the noises coming from over that direction. Thanksgiving threw me on my reading plans because my boyfriend was home. We were spending time together, spending time with each other instead of me doing solo things. So it kind of threw off my normal reading that I do, and had to spend time with family and do some things. Was just really stressed, so I didn't end up reading a lot. But I have made progress. I forgot to look at exactly how much progress before I started recording on my phone. But I am still working on the same 2 books that I was working on last week when we talked. I've made it farther though. I was just hoping that I would be done with them, but like I said, the weekend got away from me. It's fine though, because I had a great weekend. Apart from all of my anxiety, I had a great weekend. I'm almost done. I mean, look, I've got this much left of A Memory Called Empire by Arkady Martine. I am at page 319. I'm really loving this. I don't think it's going to be a 5, but I think it's going to be like a solid 4. And that been thinking about a lot because I have a lot of 5 stars I've read this year, and I'm kind of going back and I'm looking at them and I'm kind of questioning. So I'm thinking I might do one of the 5-star ranking videos later this week just to kind of get a grasp on where I'm at, because I was also doing a bracket and looking at like the top book I read each month. And in January, February, March, I had like 15 or more books that were 5 stars each month. And then come like August, I had 1 5-star book, or September, I can't remember. And like I had like 4 and 2, and even though I was reading less books because I was reading so much early in the year, in the winter when there's not a lot going on at work, I get off a little early and I read more. So I was reading a lot. I was also reading a lot of manga and graphic novels early in the year. And some of the graphic novels definitely hold up as 5 stars, but I don't consider them my like best of the books that I've read. I probably need to go through and do I don't need to, but I want to go through and do a graphic novel and manga ranking video for what I've read this year. I don't think it should ever be that serious, but I think I need to do a ranking video, just because I keep thinking about all those great graphic novels I read early in the year, and I did end up giving quite a few of them 5 stars, and I just kind of want to look at like what's at what. And I've slowed down on like my manga and graphic novel consumption, partially because of the yet unfinished Granny Square tracker, which, can I finish it before Christmas? We'll find out. So anyway, let's go back to this. So I'm enjoying this a lot, but like tonight I was like, oh, I'll have like 2.5 hours to read before I need to go film. It ended up being 3.5 hours, and I only read like 20 pages because I just kept, first I was exhausted and I debated taking a nap, so I just scrolled on TikTok for a while, and then I decided to scroll on Threads and Instagram and ended up reading for like 20 minutes, because I'm enjoying this, but I don't have that, oh my god, I gotta go back to it, oh my god, I gotta finish this feeling that I get with a 5-star, which is why I'm like, I'm enjoying it, but I'm not gonna make this book my personality. So I'm kind of wondering if I should have my 5 stars just be like things where they like consume me, or maybe I need to be like labeling things as a 5-star favorite or just a 5-star, because I tend to do things as 5 stars if I don't see a problem with them. I'm like, there's no notes, it's a 5-star. And my only note with this is the pacing is a little slow. And I think only for me, the caveat with this is that it's so heavy sci-fi that I'm not feeling like sucked into the world. And that's because of my unfamiliarity with sci-fi. So let me give you the overview of what's happening in this book. I think I'm going to do a big review of it this weekend if I can get it done. But my brief so far, what's happening, we have Mahit. She is a She's an ambassador from a station planet. So they're not an actual planet. They're like a space station, and they're a mining planet. And she's an ambassador to an actual planet, which is an empire that is annexing all of these other small stations and small planets with just overreaching colonialism, essentially. But she's always been a little bit obsessed with their culture. So when that planet, Texcalan, needs, I did listen to the audio for a sample so I could see how to pronounce it. It's Texcalan. When they needed an ambassador, she met all the qualifications and matched up with the previous ambassador, because her world does something really interesting where they take the memories of someone in a previously important role and they impart them into this little microchip, essentially called an imago, and that gets implanted into the brainstem of the next person who's going to have that role. So instead of training, they get like someone with them all the time. They still go through training. Mahit talks about how her culture has like therapy, like mandatory therapy and psychology and all this, like they have to meet with actual like psychiatrists and stuff, not just therapists, but like actual like scientific psychiatrists to adjust to their new state of being, because the idea is that they'll integrate personalities and be a kind of a new person essentially, but still have remnants of both people. It's kind of a thing that makes me go, oh, I'm uncomfortable with that because of the sense of self that I have from the culture I was raised in. And there's kind of a conversation here of how big is your understanding of the word you, or your definition of the word you. And that's an interesting conversation in here. Anytime you start to do things with memory, I get a little like uncomfortable. And so anyway, she goes to the planet. They find out the ambassador is dead, and then something happens to her imago, and she feels very alone, and she's having to rely on her liaison and a few other contacts in order to figure out, one, what happened, and two, what is happening now. Because there's heavy politics in here, which I always enjoy a story with politics, but this one it's got a lot. So that's this one. I'm really enjoying it. The other one is The Last Argument of Kings. I'm 41% into it. This is the third book in the First Law series. I am very much enjoying it. We're having some pretty big character arcs for some of the characters we got introduced in the beginning. So we're following so many characters. This is an ensemble cast. Everybody has a strong role to play. We're going into a war. We're dealing with everybody's morally gray. Everyone has their own moral compass. Nobody in here is a good person. We have some characters striving to be better than they were before, and they tend to kind of shine in this world, but pretty much everyone is like not a good person in a lot of different ways. My favorite characters are definitely not everybody else's favorite characters, because most people that I've seen, okay, there's a weird group of us that just kind of started reading this all around the same time on Instagram, and I was not a part of it, but now I'm suddenly in with those other people too, because we all started reading it independently and didn't realize other people were reading it too. I'm a little bit behind because I had to wait for library holds to come in, where other people have finished them, and so we're like, they're checking in with me, and I'm like, oh my god. But most people's favorite is Logan, and most people hate Glokta, who is he's the torturer, and I actually really like him. I find him to be incredibly complex. He's so intelligent. He's so cynical, and he recognizes that his job as a torturer, as an inquisitor, is not good, and that he is not a good person for doing it. And he recognizes every single choice he made in his life to get him here, and constantly wondering where was the last point before he could go back to not be a bad person. And he deals a lot too with him being heavily disabled from torture that was inflicted upon him, and so he feels, because of the way this world works and the way that people judge him for his looks and for his disabilities, that he doesn't deserve any better than this. And so he has this kind of internal struggle all the time of what he deserves versus what he's told he deserves. I really like Glokta a lot. I find him to be one of the most compelling characters. My other favorite one is Dogman. He's one of the Northmen. He's just a kind soul. He's actually like not really a main from the ensemble, but he gets his time, and he's getting more time as the story goes on, and he tries so hard to just make good choices. He doesn't want to be a leader. He's ended up being a leader. He's just a very good character, and I really like him. Then Colonel West, I do love. He is party dad, and he is getting so much shit put on him that he doesn't want to deal with. He's had his moments where he's definitely not a good person at all, but I do find a little bit of like emotion for him being a party dad, where he's just constantly in charge of situations he doesn't want to be in charge of, and everyone around him is a child. So a lot of things are happening right now, and I can't really tell you much else beyond what I just did because everything's a spoiler, because we're in the third book of a trilogy. There are standalones that come after it that are set in this world. They're supposed to be really good, but that's where I'm at. And it's one of those things where I just haven't spent a lot of time in the car, and I tend to do more of my audio reading when I'm in the car, but I haven't been driving, I haven't been going into work, and then when I have been working from home, I would normally listen to my audiobook, but I've been in really long meetings. Today I had a 6-hour workshop, so I couldn't really listen to anything. And then I'll probably hopefully end up listening a little bit tomorrow, but I have another long, like 7-hour workshop tomorrow. So audiobooks are just going to get put a little bit on the back right now until I only have 19 more days, and then I get 2 weeks off. So I've just got to make it through the next like 2 weeks of work-ish, and I'll have some time off. So that's where I'm at with my reading. I'll tell you real quick what I've been doing. Otherwise, in my 7 hours today of my 6 hours of my meeting, I was able to finish the bulk of this bulky blanket that I'm making for my friend's daughter. The next bit of it, I'm not gonna show you the whole blanket, but it's about 5.5 feet by about 3.5 feet. It's a lap blanket, and you're gonna end up making it a little bit longer. But tomorrow I'm gonna weave in all these ends, and this is giving me the aliens from the Muppets, like, because it's the velvet, and it's just giving me that feeling every time I look at it. I'm like, anyway, so I'm gonna weave in all those ends tomorrow, and then hopefully get the border started. Last time I did a border, I finished it pretty quick, so my goal is to finish this by this week. And yeah, I still haven't done my sister's dog blanket. I really need to work on it because we're like down below freezing, but he does have a jacket that I got him to wear, so he's not totally cold. So I've been working on that. I made a couple pies for Thanksgiving. It turned out great. Everybody loved them. I'm very happy with them. I bought a diffuser so I could actually dry my hair and not have to go to bed with wet hair, and I'm learning how to diffuse my hair. This is a few days after, but it actually curled up here. Normally it just curls here because I just let it air dry. I tie it back so this all gets pulled flat. So I actually am learning to do like feminine things for myself, which is exciting. And that's basically where I'm at for this week. So a lot of stuff. I need to pick another book to read after I finish this one. Maybe I can do that right now. I think I'm gonna feel something. I want to jump to fantasy. I want to do some. Let's do this one. I'll do this one next after I finish A Memory Called Empire, Every Heart a Doorway. This is off my 10 Before the End list, which I did make a video of if you want to see that. I'm gonna read this one after I finish A Memory Called Empire because it's only like 170-ish pages, and the font is big. The margins are big. I should be able to finish this relatively quickly, and I've heard nothing but good things about this. Everybody loves this. Well, not everybody, but a lot of people that I'm friends with on the internet love this series, so I'm looking forward to starting it and giving it a go. So, losing my voice a little bit. That's where I'm at. It was a pretty chill week. I just didn't get a lot done because of the responsibilities of Thanksgiving and all of that stuff. So, dog is whining. But he didn't have to get off it. He got off his bed to lay on the hard floor and complain to me that the floor is hard. He could have stayed on his bed. So I'm gonna go, and I will see you, if not later this week, I'll see you Saturday with something else. I hope you had a great weekend, and let me know what you're reading right now.